So I'm just gonna jump into the stationery haul and start with some stuff that I picked up and couldn't wait to put in my notebook, because when it comes to stationery, I can get a little excited and a little impatient. So the first two things that I picked up that I immediately put in my notebook are this craft folder, as well as the limited edition B-Sides and Rarities letter pad. The reason why I bought a craft folder to put this insert in is because the cover of this insert is a very, very lightweight cardstock, and if I put this through the elastic of my traveler's notebook, I guarantee you it would rip the cover in half, and that just really hurts my heart just thinking about it. So I decided to avoid such a tragic situation and just pick up a craft folder so I could slip it in. The reason why I bought this insert was because I felt that of the B-Sides and Rarities release, this was by far the most kind of functional insert of the bunch. You know, personally, I'm not a scuba diver or, need washable paper inserts because I'm not hanging out near water. Not that I don't like water and not that I have an aversion to water, but when it comes to my needs, having a letter pad to jot down thoughts, ideas, recipes I want to make, and just other random stuff is really helpful and really useful in my notebook. So this is something that I recently picked up, and also the craft folder was something that I kind of planned to put this in just so it was all protected and all good. So those are the two things that I have in my notebook right now. Now we're going to jump into the rest of the haul, which is items that are not necessarily in my notebook, but things I have been using quite frequently and that I've picked up in the last couple months. So besides the letter pad, I did pick up one other insert from the B-Sides and Rarities release. I really tried to only buy stuff from this release that I thought I would really use and like, but as soon as I saw this cow who I've named Bertha on the front of this insert, and then once I actually saw what was in the insert, I knew that I had to grab this in addition to the letter pad, even though admittedly this isn't as functional as the letter pad would be. Regardless, I'm quite pleased that I did end up picking this up. This insert has a bunch of these beautiful letterpress message cards in the kind of Traveler's Company traditional design. So there's a lot of trains, planes, automobiles, and even bicycles, if you are into that. I felt like this insert provided a lot of cards. It wasn't the kind of situation where you get something and it comes with like literally 2 cards and you're like, man, I'm definitely just gonna save these and not use them because there aren't really enough for me to save and then also give away. So this is definitely a quantity that I am confident I'll be able to keep a couple for myself, but also use a couple to send nice messages to loved ones and friends, and I think this would also be a cool kind of tag on a gift. For all the message cards, you rip them out of the notebook and then you remove the card from the other 2 attached to it by ripping it along this perforated line. This is actually, I thought I'd show you guys my favorite card. I just love the saying. I mean, it would be even better if it said good tea, not good coffee, because I don't drink coffee because it makes me extremely nauseous. One thing I felt was important to note in this haul is that when I got these, I thought I'd be able to slip them into my business card file, like a Polaroid picture, but if you want to do that, you do have to cut them down, because as you can see, the card is a little bit bigger than the business card file itself. So that's just something I wanted to note there in case anyone wanted to do that with these cards. In addition to the B-Sides and Rarities release, I also picked up a bunch of just kind of standard items from my stationery store that I kind of needed to pick up because I was either running out of or just knew I was going to run out of in the future. So I decided to grab 2 of these dot grid inserts. These guys are very constantly used in my traveler's notebook. I use them as my bullet journal, and you would have seen them around in my mini plan with me, and I also decorated one of these inserts when I published a video where I showed you guys how I kind of set up my new insert and decorated them. So that is the more basic item. Moving on from that to the most fun item, this is a really fun washi tape I picked up. that is super minimal, but I absolutely love the bold lettering and typography in the design. This is where my video takes a turn from being a traditional stationery haul and also has an added side show of me just decorating my notebook with my new supplies that I've finally been able to open because I've started filming this haul. So as you'll see with this washi tape, as soon as I opened it, I thought, why not just swatch this by decorating my craft folder with it and kind of get a multi-purpose use out of it. I get to show you guys what this washi tape looks like and also add a little bit of fun and decoration to this craft folder. So that is what I'm going ahead and doing now. This washi tape actually is more of a peach than like a pink color, but it's still really, really beautiful. And it's not one of those washi tapes that's overly sticky. It's very easy to reposition and it's just so beautiful. Even though I put this on upside down, I still love it. It's great. This is what it looks like unrolled, so you can see a better view of the actual color on a kind of more white background. And I also thought I'd mention that this is by the same person who made that gray washi tape that I use in my journal a lot. Next, I'm going to be sharing a couple inks that I got because I either ran out of the color I had or because I wanted to pick up a new color because it was really nice. So here are the two colors I got. The more, traditional or, functional one would be this black ink. This is the Versa Magic Midnight Black ink, and this is the ink that I use for all my stamping in my traveler's notebook. And I actually ran out of my last one, so I really needed to pick up a new one, so I just grabbed this from my local stationery store. What I love about these brand of inks is they don't bleed through paper, which is really nice because the Traveler's Company paper can be a bit on the thin side. One new color that I picked up is this white ink by Versa Magic, and while it may not be usable on the pages of my Traveler's Notebook, I absolutely love using this ink to decorate the outside covers of my inserts. And one thing I really love about this white ink is it's very opaque and it appears really well on craft colored and gray colored inserts. So I thought I'd just give you, a demonstration and also, as I said, decorate my notebook because why not? So I'm taking this bird stamp and I'm going in with the white ink, making sure I have full coverage and just going in and adding this on the back of the insert. And that is what it looks like. It dries down a little less white, as you can see here, once it's kind of eventually dry. And I do find the white ink needs a little more time to dry compared to black, but once you're patient and let it dry, I think the white ink on craft folders just is such a fun way to customize them, and it adds a really nice pop of color. Now, besides the ink, I also picked up a bunch of stamps to use with said ink. I got two main types. The first type are clear stamps, and then the second type are wood stamps. These are different based on how the stamp is mounted. Wood stamps are mounted onto a wood block, but clear stamps aren't mounted onto anything. You actually peel them up and stick them onto an acrylic block, and then use them to stamp onto whatever material you're putting the stamp on. The nice thing about both these types of stamps is you can find them pretty easily on Etsy, and for the most part, most stores are very affordable. The wait time can be a little longer because usually they're coming from very far overseas countries. However, once you wait and get them in the mail, the great thing about these stamps is you can use them over and over again, which is awesome. I'll make sure to link the stores I got these from below, but these stamps are really, really cool. I love all of them, and I really love actually this set that I got. It was a set of wood stamps, and the moon is one that I've used most recently, but I think this provides a really nice variety of stamps. I find that the moon in the top right corner actually reminds me of the DreamWorks logo a little bit, which I just think is a funny coincidence. And these stamps actually have a kind of white rubber stamp part. So if you're using white ink, it's a little more tricky, but you know, you just have to kind of overdo it on the ink and make sure it's fully covered before you go ahead and stamp. Now, while wood stamps are really fun to use, I must say clear stamps are very convenient. In other ways, the wood stamps are not. You're able to see the stamp more clearly when you're using it because it's mounted onto an acrylic block, and it's also much easier to store because clear stamps are very flat, so you can store them in an accordion folder or, you know, even in a drawer, but more of them kind of stack up compared to a wood stamp, which is just really nice and good if you're like me and have a bunch of stationery supplies. However, sometimes I find that when using clear stamps, I prefer them, but then other times I find I prefer wood stamps. Although clear stamps are really helpful and easy to use because you can see through to the page when stamping, I do find they can be a bit messy just because you're kind of touching the stamp, pulling it off the block. And although ideally you would clean the stamp before you do that, sometimes I'm lazy and I don't clean my stamps right after I use them. So that's where wood stamps are kind of winning the game in that sense because they don't require you to kind of touch the stamp after you've used it. But I think both types of stamps have their pros and cons, and I think, you know, as long as it's in a design you enjoy, it's fun to kind of try both types. I also like to buy stamps that kind of remind me of other things. This set that I got right here, I may have bought because the scissor stamp reminds me of my personal scissors, so that's another fun thing about stamps. You can find a ton of designs and really just get a collection based on what you really like. And besides my stamps and my scissor obsession coming into the video again, that is the full stationery haul. Let me know if you picked up any stationery items recently that you've really been loving. And besides that, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye everyone!